which is event in Sri Lanka order now sits sometime in among building of cards, play of thrones and Shakespeare's darkest ancient Roman acting. It involves a man who devotee his lead just now to back him to force, an estimated assassination story, and two men gasket complaint to a great white's house how is a character of policy force. There's witchy requirement to aware on the Constitution meltdown thrilling the Isle nationality, the is complex since down there include bin lot peripecia and turns. Recent 1 week Sri Lanka's CEO Maithripala Sirisena stunned the nationality by sackcloth Main Secretary Ranil Wickremesinghe, dissolution the office, and suspensive parliament. He told they hadn't been received on. The CEO later, in which lot saw as the greater surprise party, equipped Mahinda Rajapaksa, the man he conquered in the 2015 president poll, as the new PM. Mr. Rajapaksa led Sri Lanka for a key time among 2005 and 2015 and oversaw the contentious end of the nation's cruel many decades-long civilian warfare. His household dominated Sri Lanka time he was in accusation, and members of his internal round were charged of corrupt practices, war crimes and saddling the nation in billions of dollars of obligation owed to China. The household reject offense, and stay famous, particularly in village areas. But India, the EU and the US are not lucky to see his back, correspondents tell. To be precise on the degree of the policy in turn by Sri Lanka's CEO, you include to go behind to the 2015 poll. Mr. Sirisena was charged of betraying Mr. Rajapaksa since although they belonged to the identical policy side, he teamed up in Ranil Wickremesinghe to destruction him. Now how relation has rotated acid and Mr. Sirisena has rotated behind to his old friend turned rival turned friend once again. Not precisely. Mr. Wickremesinghe, the man who was dismissed, is refusal to keep shrine trees, the colonialist-era cottage how is the main secretary's formal accommodation. He says which the CEO has made is unconstitutional and how he remnant the actual main secretary. He wants Parliament to be called so MPs can voice on the question. But Mr. Sirisena has not yet permitted that to occur, and analysts say hows since he knows no most yet exists how would approve Mr. Rajapaksa as PM. The Sirisena Rajapaksa Association is yet hard to rotate Wickremesinghe loyalists above to their party in ministries and some acquiescence. Mr. Wickremesinghe's supporters include shaped a protection mob at shrine trees, and Buddhism monks include as well been named down there to song prayers, in a probable bid to retain police force of with strength to shoot the dismissed PM. A parliament voice could unload the meltdown, but though later, supporters of the loser party could get to the gateway in wrath. It depends on who you say to. In a length address to the nationality above the weekend, CEO Sirisena told tensions had been house up among him and his PM for year. He named Mr. Wickremesinghe both of haughty and obstinate. He has as well related him to a contentious centre banking ties selling, that is estimated to include led to the losing of 1 BN Sri Lankan rupees, $65 meter, £50 meter. The CEO as well estimated how a office secretary was implicated in a story to murder him and how police force had difficult an inquiry. Yet, if you were to say to Mr. Wickremesinghe, he would say the cradle of the meltdown lie completely in which he sees as the illegal actions of Mr. Sirisena. He's real how lot analysts say how the coalition by the government the two shaped was potential to crash since of the broken relation. But the way it happened has undertaken lot by surprise party. A quantity of constitution expert include told the sackcloth of Mr. Wickremesinghe is not legislative. By the basic law, as corrected 3 years back, the CEO does not include the force to shoot the main secretary, says Constitution specialist Dr. Nihal Jayakrama. In reality by the 19th correction, nearly all of the CEO's execution powers were undertaken off, he says. The correction was entered by both of Mr. Sirisena and Mr. Wickremesinghe. On to Mr. Jayakrama, just Parliament can constitutionally shoot a main secretary. Down there is a regulation how the man largest potential to team the trust of Parliament should be mentioned as main secretary, but Mr. Wickremesinghe is the lead of the greatest side and readily won a no-trust movement over the year. The CEO has quoted a portion of the Basic Law how allows him to designate a main secretary as the base for his remove of Mr. Wickremesinghe, but several constitution expert include throw question on the reasonableness of how reason. I had a really success phone talk in UN Secretariat General HRE. Emitonio Guterres recent night. I confident him how the assignment of the new main secretary has been made in compliance in the Basic Law of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a nation how consumable many decades immersed in a cruel and murderous civilian war among by the government and the separatist fighter Tamil Tigers, that ended in accusations of humane rights atrocities on both of sides. Mahinda Rajapaksa was in accusation while lot charged by the government of murder thousands of civilian population bordered in a slim stripe of earth at the end of the war. The troop ever rejected the. Ultimately the nation one day once again became a top visitor purpose and reached the likeness of sustainability, but the unparalleled meltdown puts how repute at hazard. The EU has already endangered to halt Sri Lanka's profitable responsibility-free trading accessing to the planet's largest solitary marketplace if it rose behind on commitments to humane rights and conciliation among the most Sinhala and minority group Tamil communities.